Good morning, everyone. I am in southern Idaho. I'm starting off this video in Craters of the Moon National Monument. I'm on top of a cinder cone right now, a small mountain called Inferno Cone. And cinder cones, you can see another one right here. There are more over here, like this is one right here. This is one over here. Cinder cones are essentially small volcanoes that, instead of spewing out lava, spewed out cinder or ash. Beautiful day today. It's a cool morning. Craters of the Moon is a national monument that I've been to several times before. I live just 2 hours from here. I think it's the closest national monument to me. I'll put a link in the description if you want to see some other videos that I've filmed here. I'm not going to be spending a ton of time here today. I've done most of the main hikes here, the main trails here, except for one, which I'm going to do today. It's further to the south. It's off in this direction. Back at the bottom now, here's a look up at Inferno Cone itself. If we zoom in here, you can see maybe some people up there, kind of toward the top. Cassie and I came here to Craters of the Moon National Monument as part of our honeymoon road trip, and we hiked up Inferno Cone, so it's always fun for me to come back here and think about that time, and it's just an interesting place. Lots of caves here, lots of lava flows, and other volcanic features that you can hike to or even just enjoy from the little scenic drive that they have here. It's an interesting little park. And like I said, there's one hike I want to do here, one main hike. It's not super long. I think it's like a mile or a mile and a half each way, but it's at the southernmost point that you can access here by car. So I think it's just a, I don't know, 5-minute drive to get there. And it's called the Tree Molds Trail. And here we are at the trailhead again. The Tree Molds Trail. There's one other car in the parking lot, and it's a pretty cool van. Check this out. They've got solar panels up on top here and then like a little deck on top. Pretty neat. Anyway, this trail, as I said, it's about a mile long each way. I think you could extend it a little bit further if you wanted to, but I think most people just go about a mile each way here. I'm now at the first of what I think are several, or at least a handful, of tree molds. And so this area used to be a forest, there used to be trees growing here, and then lava came through, swept through the area. It burned the trees, but as the trees were burning, they released some moisture, some steam, and that steam was enough to cool down the lava around the tree so that it kind of stopped the lava in its tracks. It paused the lava as a moment in time, and so eventually the trees eroded away, and what we're left with are these molds of the trees and of the bark that was on those trees. And I'm at the first one of those tree molds right now. The trail goes out onto this lava flow, this lava field here, and there are these markers to show where the trail is and where the molds are. This particular mold is of the trunk, essentially. Can you see this? So this circle right here was a tree trunk. Pretty neat, pretty neat. Let's go on to the other ones. Here's another marker, and this one is really interesting. So this is a log, a horizontal log. It went right here. And you can indeed see the indentations of the bark here. Do you see the texture of this right here? It's the mold of an ancient burned tree. Let's go check out this other section of it. Same kind of thing. Looks like alligator skin. That's amazing. Kudos to whoever first found this, whoever first discovered this. And it's also fun to just look at the lava underfoot here. You can see how flowing and viscous it was here. This is the shape, the texture that it dried, that it cooled down with. And just like that, I'm at the end of the maintained trail. It was just those 2 sections that were marked. I'm gonna go a little bit further. I'm not gonna spend a ton of time out here, but I'm gonna wander around a little bit, see if I can find any more of these tree molds. Apparently there are more. There are several groups out here. I think that if you don't know where they are, like me, I don't know where these other ones are. It's kind of like finding a needle in a haystack, but it's a pretty area. Might as well spend a little bit more time out here exploring. Literally about 5 seconds after saying that, I looked over, saw this stick sticking up out of the rocks and thought, huh, that looks like someone put it there. Maybe that's marking another tree. Sure enough, it is. This is so neat. You can see some of it right here. And then this right in here, it looks like tire tracks. And then this is just a perfectly formed circle right here of where the tree trunk would have been, where the tree would have been. It's like proof of ancient Jeeps. Some ancient off-roaders were out here driving on the lava. And then it continues on over here. I don't know if it's the same tree or not, but again, that texture right in there. Well, I think that's a great note to end this on. That was really neat. Now, I looked on Google Maps and All Trails, and I think this hike got 4 out of 5 stars, which for a national park hike or a national monument hike isn't that great. But I really enjoyed this. I mean, how often do you see petrified, I don't even know what to call it, the absence of a petrified tree, you know? Really unique. From here on out, I'm gonna hike back to the car, and then I've got a couple hours of driving that I'm not gonna film, and then I'm gonna head up into the mountains, into some obscure hills here, and I'll show you on a map of Idaho when I get back to my car, and well, I guess once I get to the next destination, I'll show you on a map where exactly I am on this voyage with relation to some of the other to some of the topography in Idaho. This is an interesting part of Idaho that I'm in, and I think it deserves more attention than it gets. So anyway, I'll see you guys at the next spot. And here we are. I'm at this spot above the river here. This is the Big Wood River. Pretty area in and of itself, but the real attraction is this rickety old bridge. This is called Sheep Bridge. This bridge was built in 1965 and has been maintained, but hasn't been changed a whole lot since then. It's a little swinging bridge that was used to shuttle sheep. So the area over this way, this is where Sun Valley and Ketchum are. You might have heard of Sun Valley. It's a famous ski resort and just all around playground for rich people. That's only about 45 minutes this way. And that area and this area in general has a history of shepherding, of raising sheep. And so this bridge was built to get the sheep from this area, this general area, to a train, to the railroad in this area, to take them to market. And I think this bridge is actually still actively used for that purpose. There are still sheep being raised in the area. Ooh, yeah. I don't know if you can see this. This bridge is wiggly and it's kind of sketchy, kind of in rough shape. I think one of these cables snapped a handful of years ago, but it was replaced. Neat old bridge. The side of the bridge is just old, broken 2x4s here. There are broken boards in the floor of the bridge itself. You can see the river down in there. This is just a stick. This is just a regular stick nailed to the bottom, to the board here. Every once in a while I come across something and I think, this is not going to be accessible to people for much longer. I think this is one of those places. They're going to close this thing down at some point in the probably not too distant future here, so come see it while you still can. And this river, by the way, the Big Wood River, this is one of the famous fly fishing rivers in the region. This is the river that flows down the main valley where Ketchum and Sun Valley are located. This is one of the famous rivers that Ernest Hemingway used to fish back in the day when he lived in Sun Valley. Silver Creek is another one. It's 20 minutes, half an hour in that direction. I crossed over it a few times on the way to get here, but what an interesting thing. Really glad I came here. And while we're stopped here, I want to show you the map here. So this is obviously a map of Idaho. Right now I am roughly about right here, so in the middle of like the southern part of Idaho. And the central part of Idaho is amazing. All this green, this is all very remote, beautiful mountains. The east is really pretty. This is where I live over here, right next to the Tetons. The south even right here. But you see the interstate that comes through right here like a smiley face, like a smile. This area is called the Snake River Plain because the Snake River flows through here. And this is kind of the flyover part of Idaho. It's the part of Idaho that people drive through. And from the interstate, it's really not all that interesting. But there's actually a lot of interesting stuff here. And so the first day of this trip that I'm on, I'm exploring kind of the lesser known parts of this flyover area. It's a part of Idaho and a part of the western US that I think gets ignored, it gets overlooked, gets bypassed, and I don't think that necessarily deserves to be the case. So that's what I'm doing today and part of tomorrow and some other days on this trip. And this trip, by the way, I don't think I explained what this trip is. It's gonna be like a 6-day trip, I think, probably 4 SUV RVing videos, basically going across southern Idaho, seeing a lot of interesting stuff, both in the high desert, like out here, then also into the beautiful mountains. So it's gonna be a really fun trip. Again, I live in Idaho, but I've been here for a few years and there's still interesting things here in this part of Idaho, which is arguably the least interesting part of Idaho. They're still really fun and interesting to see. I'm excited to see them and show them to you guys and share them with you. I'm now continuing in this direction to the west, and then I'll go south a little bit into some kind of obscure mountains over this way. The weather, as you can tell, is a little bit threatening. Not great. It might rain today, and that might thwart some of my plans for being in the mountains, but let's just cross that bridge when we come to it. No pun intended. So on my way into the mountains, which you might be able to see behind me over here on the horizon, I wanted to stop by this old building. This is an old one-room schoolhouse. It's called the Corral School. This little community here is called Corral, and it was in operation from 1908 to 1953, as it conveniently says right on the side of the building there. I love seeing these old schoolhouses. I've seen them quite a bit in Idaho and also in Montana. They consolidated a lot of school districts in Idaho, and maybe that's why this was abandoned, or maybe they just, I don't know, built a bigger school somewhere else. I'm not sure. But there's actually a book about Montana's one-room schoolhouses. I remember seeing that book on the shelf in some bookstore in Bozeman, I think. I'll put a link to that down below if you are interested in these kinds of things. I mean, I'm not like, I don't know if I'd buy a book about them, but it's fun to look at pictures of them, and this one's in a pretty setting here. Kind of out on the high plains, the base of these still snowy mountains out here. Pretty area. And speaking of mountains, so like I said, I'm going into these mountains over here. And I was unsure how much snow is still on there, but it looks promising. It looks like I'll be able to drive up there. Let's give it a shot. There's one thing that I want to get to that's like on the other side of these mountains, and I thought, yeah, why not just drive up and over them instead of going around? So that's what the plan is. Well guys, I've reached a little bit of an impasse. We have a little bit of a problem here. Just as things were about to get good, as I was about to start driving into the actual mountains here, I ran into this fence and I saw this sign that said no hunting. I thought, okay, that's not a big deal. There's no trespassing sign, it just says no hunting. But on each side of this little gate here, there's a chain, and each one is locked. So I cannot get through here. I do believe this is private property, but like all around here, this is all public land. This is all BLM land through here. And so I thought there was just like a public right of way to get through here to the public land, which is, I mean, it's just right here. But no, so I need to figure something else out. I need to look at the map. I need to drive around on these roads a little bit more. I might be able to meet back up with this road by going around, or I might need to just go like all the way around these mountains and access this area from the south. I'm on the north side of these mountains now. I might need to just do a big detour here. I'm not sure. I'm not going to bore you with the details of me trying to figure that out. Assuming I can get to one of the places that I wanted to see on the other side of these mountains here, I'll start recording again once I get there. It's an hour and a half later. The weather is terrible. It's raining, there's lightning. It's extremely windy. Good thing I'm about to go underground. Oh. Okay, so I tried to get up and over the mountains, couldn't find a way to do it. Had to go around, had to take the long way around. That led me to here. This isn't where I was ultimately trying to get to. This is one of the things that I wanted to get to today, but there was another thing higher up the mountain that, I don't know, we'll see if I'll be able to get up there today. As you saw, the weather is just brutal right now. And the longer I'm out here, the worse the road getting in here is going to get. If it continues to rain, the high clearance road that I drove in on is just going to be brutal. But anyway, one thing at a time. I'm in a cave called Kettle Cave. I don't know if you can hear the wind roaring above me here, whipping up above me here, but I'm at the mouth, the entrance of the cave. This is a lava tube cave formed from volcanic activity. Lava flowed through this tube here. There are caves like this in Craters of the Moon National Park also. Those are currently closed. I've been to those caves before in previous videos. This one is a bit more obscure and it's really remote. I'm at the entrance of the cave right now. Let's go deeper down into the earth. And just a quick scramble down from the opening in the cave there leads you to this incredible place. There's this big circular cavern with a hole in the top. And I don't know if you can see it in the video, but because it's raining, you can see the water streaming in through here. That's incredible. And that moisture has created this little garden oasis down at the bottom here. But yeah, these are little ferns right below the hole in the ceiling. I'm reminded of the Pantheon in Rome with that big dome that has the hole in the ceiling. This is nature's version of that. There's actually a sign here. Let me read it to you. The eastern Snake River Plain offers explorers a chance to see breathtaking examples of Idaho's volcanic history. And it says basically don't break rock formations that you'll find in the cave. This one here says do not enter the rock circle containing ferns. These ferns have been here for many thousands of years, and visitors have been trampling them to death. I have been to places similar to this before, but still, whenever I'm at a place like this, I'm just in awe at how beautiful it is. And I feel like I've just stumbled across this little magical, I don't know, like Lord of the Rings, fairy, Narnia kingdom, you know, like it's just something otherworldly in a good way. It's just spectacular. And then back topside, you can peer down into the cave from the skylight, through the skylight. Talk about a gorgeous place to camp, right on the edge of a lake. This is called Bray Lake, and I scouted it out on the map before this trip. I thought, you know, that looks like a pretty cool place to camp. It looks like it could be a cool place to camp. And boy, was I right. You could camp anywhere along here. There are tire tracks heading out this way, all over here. But it is a windy, blustery afternoon here. Kind of like how it's been all day, to be honest. So here's the deal. The weather is bad. I just looked at the forecast for the area where I wanted to be tomorrow, and it's not great. In fact, it's gonna snow tomorrow, and I was planning on doing some water activities tomorrow. Not on the lake here, somewhere else, about an hour, hour and a half from here. I don't want to be on the water while it's snowing. You know, that's not fun. That's not especially safe. So I'm going to change plans. I was going to camp here tonight. I'm not going to anymore. I still wanted to come here. I still wanted to see it and show it to you guys. And I like having a campsite to show you guys at the end of each video. but I'm gonna hit the road to get closer to where I want to be tomorrow. The new plan for tomorrow, the new place that I want to be tomorrow. And that's like 3.5 hours away. So I'm gonna go drive a couple hours tonight, find a campsite, maybe in the dark, maybe not. But I figured that instead of trying to rush and, you know, film in the dark or as it's getting dark and rush to try to find a campsite, I'm just gonna end the video here, and then I can find a campsite at my leisure in a couple hours maybe, while it still is light, or maybe I'll wanna drive 3 or 4 hours through the dark and find a campsite close to where I wanna be tomorrow. So I just wanted to give myself that flexibility while still giving you guys a nice campsite to end the video on. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the day. This is a really fun area for me to explore because there's no one out here. Obviously the weather has something to play with that today, but I mean, I haven't seen anyone in hours. It's just so much fun to have this entire area, all these dirt roads to explore. There's so many more caves out here, so many more cool, interesting things that I didn't get to see and do today that I'll have to leave for a future adventure. But thanks for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions, and let me know what your favorite part of today's video was. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Be sure to check out Adventure Know-How, my new site, where you can gain access to a map of all of my free campsites, plus monthly bonus videos that you won't find anywhere else. Learn more at adventureknowhow.com. And for links to everything else SUV RVing related, visit suvrving.com. Links to these sites and more will be in the video description.